Innovative di Hatiku represents a slogan that focuses on prioritizing community and future students, especially from the B40 groups. The spirit that arises from this slogan is to continue the effort to always give and help the community and prospective students in need. This slogan should remain a principle in every innovative citizen, so that this slogan is spoken in every community throughout the state in Malaysia, and make innovative as the main option to pursue higher education.
Inovatif di hatiku. Inovatif di hatiku.
Inovatif di hatiku.
Inovatif di hatiku.
Innovative di hatiku.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for finding the time and visiting today's forum. My name is Haziera, and I'm a student in Diploma in Tourism Management. This forum was organized by the tourism students taking the subject Event Management. The topic of our forum will be the impact of COVID-19 towards the event management industry. As we know, in the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has severely affected global events, pointing to the need for a reflection on the future of the industry. With that said, what are the impacts that the event industry faces during the pandemic, and how do event organizers overcome this situation? Events have been cancelled or postponed around the world. On top of momentary uncertainty, the crisis also triggered profound and potentially long-lasting changes in production and consumption patterns. As the government prioritizes policies to boost economic revival, the imperative to ensure that global events add value and create equitable goods beyond their duration becomes even more significant. To start with our forum, Yuen and Kang will start with the first impact of COVID-19 towards events.
Thank you to the host, Ms. Haziera. Hello and good day, everyone. My name is Yuen Kang. I'm a student from bachelor degree in semester 7. Today, I'm glad to be here together with other students to have this forum with you guys. And the topic of this forum, as mentioned by the host just now, which is about the impact of COVID-19 on event industry. As everyone knows, COVID-19 pandemic has caused a lot of impacts to many different economic sectors and also event industry. Event industry is one of the most vulnerable and affected sectors other than tourism and also hospitality sectors. It is because almost every service-related sectors are affected enormously since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. And event is one of the most prevailing service-related sectors in this few decades. It is also why event sector is one of the sectors that got affected the most. So the most obvious impact of event industry is event cancellations and also postponement. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, many of the pre-planned events got either cancelled or postponed, regardless to their event sizes and types of events. No matter the event is as small as a birthday party or mega events that involve the participation from various countries, they are all got affected. So, example, the hot topic of event postponement due to the effect of COVID-19 is Tokyo Olympics, which was supposed to be hosted last year in Japan, but later it was postponed to this year. It is because in last year, the COVID-19 situation in many countries were getting severe, included Japan, which is the host city of Olympic Games 2020, and most of the participating countries of Olympic Games. Finally, concerning the safety of the athletes all around the world, Olympic Games as a mega event that will be participated by many athletes from different nations decided to postpone the event instead of implementing the event. So as what we can see, Olympic Games as a mega event in the world It also received many negative impacts from COVID-19, although it has a specialized cross-national committees and it is supported by many countries. Not to mention those event companies that do not have a large organizational capital as Olympic Games. They also face the same crisis situation as well. I remember that in my last semester, Juan and I had several interviews with some event company staff to gain information about this topic as well. And we actually gained a lot of extraneous information regarding to this matter, like the event postponement. And also, the interviewee that we interviewed, he said that since the ending period of 2019, their event business started to drop, and many of their customers asked for event cancellations, since COVID-19 in Malaysia already become more severe day by day. So they end up bearing the cost of deposit burn, since they already paid for certain related services like event venue reservation, logistics service, equipment rental, and they need to cancel the reservations for everything, since the event is not going to happen. Also, if you want more evidences, you can visit to the official website of MySEP. MySEP stands for Malaysia Conference and Exhibition Bureau. You can actually see many events that are supposed to happen in last year have been either cancelled or postponed. For example, like Malaysia International Furniture Fair, MIFF, Kuala Lumpur International Logistics and Transport Exhibition 2020, Malaysia International Machinery Fair 2020, Hydro Asia 2020, and many other events. The cancellation and postponement of events not only cause inconvenience to the stakeholders, such as the organizers, exhibitors, vendors, and attendees, but it will also reduce the investment of the investor on those events, since they may think like the events are difficult to yield the sufficient revenue as they expected, and the future of these events is uncertain. So when they do not want to suffer loss on their investment, they will not invest on those events. Other than that, the cancellation of the event not only caused by negative impacts to event planning companies. The venues of the event, such as a conference or convention center like KLCC, trade center like PWTC, exhibition center like MITEC, will also suffer losses, since they get no business or no clients to purchase their venue renting service. Other than that, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on event industry also included the impacts of MCO, which is Movement Control Order. As everyone knows, MCO is a partial lockdown approach implemented by the former Prime Minister on 18th of March last year. At that moment, the active COVID-19 cases in Malaysia was continually increasing, so the government decided to impose MCO to curb the spread of COVID-19 virus among the community. This lockdown approach can be defined as a trade-off between the safety of citizens and the national economy. If they impose MCO, the citizens will be more safe, since there are rules and regulations to control the movement of the citizens. However, the entire economic situation of Malaysia will suffer due to the cease of operation of many sectors. Since only necessary sectors such as F&B sector are allowed to operate during MCO. Other industry like event industry definitely will not be allowed to keep their business door open, since event industry is not necessary sector. Although this industry is not necessary, it contribute a lot of the revenue to the development of Malaysia. When many sectors stop operating, they become the sacrifices for the safety of citizens. In contrast, let's say if MCO was not implemented in Malaysia and economic sectors continue to operate, the economic loss might be slighter, but I believe that the COVID-19 cases in Malaysia will increase hugely without the implementation of MCO. So when MCO is essential and necessary to be implemented, event industry will be somehow impacted. The impact of COVID-19 on event industry is firstly, the physical events were totally prohibited during the early stage of MCO, where in the early phase of MCO, where the physical events was listed under the social activities that got banned. It is because the nature of events that will gather a group of people like friends, family members, relatives, or business people under an event venue for different purposes like celebration, festivals, having party, or nice events. This nature of event is definitely the most forbidden one, since people are trying to avoid public gathering with large group of people or crowd, especially during COVID season. And also, certain events that contain the participations under a confined place like meeting room, conference hall, theater is also strictly prohibited. So I believe it is one of the reasons why physical events got prohibited. Moreover, due to the rules or the restrictions of MCO that ban international travel and interstate travel, many business events like exhibitions, conference have to be cancelled and postponed. Based on the report of the Star, as of August 2020, more than 1,250 business events in Malaysia have either been postponed or cancelled, resulting in an unprecedented economic loss of 1.75 billion ringgit Malaysia. It is because business events like exhibitions and conventions depend heavily on foreign participants who contribute to the country's event industry. Other than that, the most common impact for many business, including event companies, is working from home. When the former Prime Minister announced the implementation of MCO, many sectors were forced to stop operating. Then many of the business or the marketers, they decided to ask their staff to work from home, including the staff in event industry. They cannot work at the office, but at least they can get their job done at their home and earn some money for the company. However, based on the interview that we carried out last semester, when we talk about the work from home matters with the interviewees, some of them propose that it is not as easy as that thing, since even businesses require teamwork from several departments, and they will need to communicate to each other frequently to update the latest info. As what they say, by working from home, they can only communicate through social media like WhatsApp, Telegram, Messenger. It is more time-consuming and inconvenient compared to physical communication. And also, it appears to be a new working norm for them that they need to adapt during COVID time. So due to the event cancellations, postponements, and also the impacts caused by MCO, like business closure, stop of operation, the impact of COVID-19 on event industry will further extend to the adversity like a huge business loss. Actually, business loss of event industry started in the end of year 2019, where the event organizers companies already started to get the request for the event cancellations and postponements from their guests. But at that moment, it was not that severe because they could somehow still operate their business. However, after that, when MCO was imposed, they cannot go to their office at all, and physical events are completely forbidden according to the restrictions of MCO. At that time, where they started to endure a huge business loss, since the event industry could not operate for so many months. The problem is, when the event industry players could not operate their business, they still have to bear several fixed costs, such as salaries, rentals, maintenance fees, and so on. When they do not have any income or revenue generated for the company, how do they pay the fixed costs? So many of the event marketers were just sustaining their business by using their company retained profits or the owner's personal savings during the crisis. Also, due to the fact that event industry is not going to recover in the near future, many of the industry many of the event companies, they decide to stop their business temporarily to minimize the cost. Since at that time it was extremely difficult for them to generate profits and revenue from the business, so they decide to take action for the cost reduction. However, not every event marketers reduce the cost by temporarily stopping business. Some of them decide to cut the salaries of the staff. It might be up to 30 to 50% based on the statement that the interviewees of last semester. Besides that, there are also event companies that lay off certain number of staff during the crisis to minimize the fixed cost. It is because business, the business they get during the pandemic time can be said as zero or even no business at all. Since it doesn't make sense to organize or host an event that involves gathering of people during COVID season, so many of the event marketers could hardly get a business or client. Maybe they wonder what is the purpose of having so many staff while they have no work to do, and at the same time they are costing money from the company. So maybe the event company management decides to temporarily lay off the workers, like asking them to take unpaid leave and only ask them to back to work when the event receives projects or business from the clients. So that's all for my points regarding to the impacts of COVID-19 on event industry.
Thank you, Yuen Kang. So the point that can be taken here is that COVID-19 has caused event cancellations and postponement, such as the major event 2020 Summer Olympics. The MCO also had a major impact on the overall contribution on the national economy generated through the business event supply chain. Next, I would like to welcome Noor Shazwanie to talk about the second part of the impact.
Hello and hi everyone. I'm Noor Shazwanie, one of student bachelor degree in tourism management semester 7. I will continue with the impact of COVID-19 in event industry, others that already explained by Mr. Yuen Kang, which is event cancellations, MCO Malaysia, and also business loss. As we know that COVID-19 has had an impact on almost all aspects of life. Surprisingly, the virus has spread to all over the world, which forcing the World Health Organization to declare a global pandemic. As we know that the impact of COVID-19 is not only on human health, but it affecting economies at both national and also global level. Naturally, one of the worst affected by the pandemic was the event industry. Events refers to public gathering or populist arts of at a determined time and also place. The purpose for staging an event can be an increase in business profitability, celebratory, entertainment, and also community costs among others. The most popular events include conference and exhibitions, corporate events and seminars, promotion and fundraising, music and art performance, sports, festival, trade shows, and also product launch. The largest growth was expected to be the music, sporting, corporate event, and also seminars categories. Looking further, millions have laid off or nearly 21% and additional 52.4% report some loss of their income. Many have departed the industry on their own accord. Direct employment in the event industry is nearly 2.5 million, while indirect employments of 1.5 million and 1.9 million in induced jobs. 95.6 billion in salaries and wages comes from the meeting industry alone. Clearly, there is a very large number of event professionals and also communities who have been affected by this pandemic. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Every industry, especially event industry, have already declared bankruptcy or were forced to lay off significant portions of their staffs. The businesses are suffering for a huge capital shortage to sustain in long runs of the technology. As we know that the daily wage workers associated with the industry, even for the small or medium event companies who do not have the platform or the target customer to provide such services, are suffering more harshness of this pandemic. As we know that the revenue and also the workers are drastically impacted and require funds to survive and also to sustain at a longer run. An additional assessments of the impact of COVID-19 on the global world of work says the effects will be far-reaching, pushing millions of people into unemployment, underemployment, and also working poverty. Falls in employment also means a very large income losses for the workers, while underemployment is also expected to increase on a large scale as the economic consequences of the virus outbreak translate into the reductions in working hours and also their wages. This is no longer only a global health crisis. It is also a major labor market and also economic crisis that is having a huge impact on even on also people. As we know that COVID-19 pandemic has hit the event industry with unprecedented force, making it one of the worst affected sectors. In 2020 and 2021, we not only saw the cancellations of many prominent events, but we see the shuttering of many event businesses and also the loss of unprecedented numbers of jobs within the event industry. Event industry can be considered as one of the hardly hit industry by the COVID-19 pandemic throughout the world, since main prevention methods of social distancing and also banning of getting together reflect the contrast situations to an essential characteristics of events which is assemble of people to one place. The event industry in Malaysia has two main categories as tourism-related event industry and also local event industry, which may interconnected with each other at some association. MICE event, destinations, wedding, and also heritage festivals are main components of the first category, while the second segment is comprising from the weddings, parties, musical concerts, and also other social and entertainment events mainly. We can see that COVID-19 pandemic started to spread in March 2020 in Malaysia, made a disastrous impact on the recovering event industry from the previous crisis. Due to this prolonged quarantine COVID and national and also international travel restrictions, lockdown, banning of human gatherings, large number of international and also local events were cancelled and also postponed. Every event entrepreneurs lost their income and also lots of their employees were out from their jobs. Events were restarted to stage in period of time between different waves of COVID-19 with release restrictions. It's a less discussed business sector, especially as measured with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, but it has gripped the convention and also exhibition industry. An estimate of 2.25 billion has gone up in smoke since the closures of our international borders. At least 6,000 Malaysians and also have already lost their job as uncertainty continues. We can see these figures exclude part-time workers and those in related businesses. The big players are KL Convention Centre, Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Centre, and also Putra World Trade Centre. In MyTech case, it has generate over 8,100 gig worker hours and also provide job for over 1,000 people in the supplies and also related chain. Since March 18, when the Movement Control Order or MCO suspended international travel and most interstate crossing, the meeting, incentive, conference and exhibitions industry has ground to a halt. In fact, some would even say it has been to capitulations. We can see in 2019, a total of 1,025 business events were organized, which have attracted over 5,400 international business travelers to Malaysia. According to the Malaysian Associations of Convention and Exhibition Organizers and also suppliers, this event contribute 3.9 billion in direct expenditure to the country and also generate most of 9.2 billion in economic impact. That's a lot of money, but here's the dead clear sounding. As of August 2020, more than 1,250 business events in Malaysia have either been postponed or cancelled, resulting in an unprecedented economic loss of over 1.75 billion. We can see that many members and also industry players have zero income since the beginning of the year, revealed by Datuk Vincent Lim, the MACEO president. Most of the big three in KL would have each lost at least 30 million in revenue this year. The exhibitions and also conventions and industry are in the same boat, quite like air travel and also tourism industry. The MCO has put paid to inbound and also outbound international travel. Unfortunately, exhibitions and also conventions depend heavily on foreign participants who contribute to the country's business tourism. We can see that business events are not social gatherings as their activities include corporate and also governmental meetings, conferences, exhibitions, and also incentive travel groups. These activities do not only bring a huge direct economic impact to the country, but more importantly, the content creations, exchange of ideas, professional developments, investment opportunities, job creations, and also long-lasting legacy effect to the community. Unfortunately, since the pandemic, Malaysia has recorded 57 postponement and also 66 cancellations of international events. We can see that clearly the recent pandemic has had a profound negative impact on the event industry, communities, governments, research organizations, attendees, employees, and all the hospitality sectors as event utilize all hospitality services. We can see that this pandemic has had a profound effect on the event industry as a whole. Most events has been cancelled or postponed due to the pandemic. We can see that more than 50% of planners and 70% of suppliers expect a very negative impact economic on their business in the next 12 months, while 21% of fear that a negative economic impact will be felt in the next 24 months. The durations of the virus outbreak remains a key factor in assessing the overall impact of the pandemic. However, since the global event industry is likely to stabilize after 2023. In conclusions, for me, COVID-19 disruptive impact have clearly had a significant impact on the event business. But we can see that when one door closed, another doors open. But we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one which has opened for us. Numerous individuals has utilized this word, including Alexander Graham Bell and also Helen Keller. Many more will see the values in this word in the near future, particularly in the event industry. Let's look further. That's all from me.
Thank you, Shazwanie. So what can be taken from Shazwanie is that COVID-19 has also affected businesses to the point of bankruptcy and workers in the event sectors losing their job. So following to the two impacts stated by Yuen, Kang and Shazwanie, Muhammad Danial Azim will be sharing with us the first solution to overcome the problem that the event industry is facing.
Hi everyone, my name is Azim. So I'm a student of tourism, currently in semester 4. So now I'm going to share the solution how the event industry can conduct or run their event during pandemic. Since the pandemic happened, our life has changed significantly that we have to restrict our physical activity. So for the event industry to survive during the COVID-19, the industry has to be creative in finding a way to conduct their event to fulfill the demand in the pandemic situation. Many business has changed their way to the virtual platform. So there are many virtual platforms that we now can recognize that was unknown before, and even it only has very few users. After the pandemic, the virtual platforms such as the Google Meet, Zoom, and other similar virtual video conference have been used to connect with each other worldwide. The pandemic has made the virtual technology become more improved and better since the technology get an increase of demand. It is considered as the future way of meeting event, and virtual events and webinars will be more recognizable. Communities will interact through the virtual mostly as to minimize the physical contact and the spread of the disease. Many business events in the industry is shifting their focus to virtual event during the pandemic. The seminars that used to be done physically now has changed to webinars using the virtual platform for discussion or doing meetings. As for the students, they can learn running online events such as esports competition before they get into the industry. This way, the experience they gain can give some inputs to their knowledge, especially during the pandemic situations that is hardly know when it will end. Besides that, we have to adapt the latest trend and situation and look for the future. We have to embrace the new business models and skills development when we want to conduct an event. It is our job to adapt and do the best that we can. It is also estimated that the future of event industry will have to include the use of virtual platform to do activities. So there are many advantages of using online platform to conduct an event. It can be considered as the solution to create the opportunities for the people to meet up online, which is why many benefits with online events that they should indeed capitalize. Some of the benefits of conducting events through online are such as save costs, more flexible choices, and also easy access. It can also be accessed by the people with disabilities that had to move and become far easier than before. However, it is still important to remember that online events don't offer the same kind of experiences and sensations that physical events do. It is because event marketers want to affect the participants' thinking and actions, which is very difficult to do through the screen. In other words, an online event can't be the only event concept of the future, but it will be an important one. So we also need to look for the importance of the safety, security, and flexibility as top priorities for our business event. In these exceptional times, the potential of online events have become more obvious than ever, and at the same time, we have learned to appreciate the power of physical encounters even more. When we are able to look beyond the situation we are in now, we will definitely focus more on the future and the positive results of this new norm. The excitement of being able to meet people again, combined with all the possibilities that we didn't have online, will surely generate new ideas, concepts, and visions. Okay, that's all my opinion for the solution for the event to continue in the pandemic.
Thank you, Azim. So, from what was said by Azim, by conducting event virtually, it does not only help planners expand their audience and promote inclusivity, but it also eliminates the need for travel. Lastly, I would like to invite Robert Lee to share the second solution for the topic of our forum.
Okay, thank you, Haziera. Hi, everyone. My name is Robert Lee Bruin, student diploma in tourism management in Japan. Here, I will suggest the next solution, and my solution is to hold the event hybrid. Hybrid events are a type of organized event that combine both physical and digital participations experiences. A hybrid event is a deliberate as usual with a portion of attendance physical present and the other portion viewing and participating remote. The underlying principle of hybrid event is for both digital and physical participants to have identical experiences in terms of quality, interaction, viewing, and access. There are many different types of hybrid events, from meetings, conferences, lectures, and presentation. In fact, any event can be hybrid in merely a case of leveraging technology to the point where your event can be consumed by both physical and virtual audiences at the same time and at the same level of quality. What is different between a virtual and hybrid event? There are very distinct difference between virtual and hybrid event. A virtual event is 100% digitized apart from the physical presence of the surrounding day. Other than that, there are no physical attendance present at the event, and it is delivered via an online platform. So, what are the benefit of hybrid event? Number one is a more profitable. There are no limits to the number of virtual attendance at the hybrid event. This means that it can be more profitable than traditional event. There's no need to rely solely on physical presence of attendance. Number two, better for environment. By offering such a first-rate interactive experience to digital attendance, hybrid event reduce the need for physical travel, lowering the carbon footprint of the event. Number three is accessible for a whole new market. Due to the relative ease of attending a hybrid event, the opportunity to learn and share knowledge become accessible for people around the world who have not attended if the event was just physical. Whether academia, business, or other, the potential to uncover a whole new time zone of potential attendance. The last benefit is repurposing of event material. With such high-level audio or visual technology freely available, event planner can redistribute event content after the event as a means of monetizations. This is a very useful way to generate extra revenue in a challenging time for event organizers. So we already know what the benefit of hybrid event are. The next thing is how do we run a hybrid event? Running hybrid event requires careful planning and organization. It's important to stay true to the participant principle of providing the highest level of interaction quality to both your physical and digital attendance. As such, you need to make sure that your technological setup is tested, flawless, and ready to go, well as also delivering the contents to the event to attendance in the most engaging way possible. The most important best practice for hybrid event is prepare your speaker, check equipment, check camera angle to make sure there's no blind spot, check sound equipment, always give online audience content and keep them engaged, keep audience interaction to a time schedule. The last one is always have experienced every staff on standby for any potential problems. And my last point is, how do you plan a hybrid event in terms of organization? Planning a hybrid event or organizing the various different components should be done in a way that are logical and structured. Number one is type of event. Decide what type of event you would like to put on. This may seem simple by clarifying your aims. You can then establish the best way to achieve them. For example, venue, platform, and choice of speakers. For instance, an awards ceremony won't require audience participation, whereas a business meeting will be smaller in scale, but all attendants need to communicate and potentially present document of work. Venue. Once you decide on the type of hybrid event you wish to hold, it will then be time to select a venue. For instance, if you plan or hosting a large-scale academic conference, with a keynote stage and smaller seminars to run concurrently, you will need to venue that has a main space with additional smaller room. You can then scale your technological need to this. For example, smart brainstorm, season in smart room could employ with wall and apps that allow multiple attendants to share the same whiteboard. And the last one, speaker and contributors. The content that you offer will be a center part of your hybrid event's success. With this in mind, not only should you select engaging speaker with exciting pitch, you should also be sure that they are comfortable with simultaneously catering to both the physical and digital audience. This could be making sure to answer live Q&As from both audience. So that is one of the solutions to the problem of event being disrupted to COVID-19. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. From Robert's solution, what he suggests is by organizing hybrid type events, attendees can also participate regardless of where they are. Due to the relative ease of attending a hybrid event, the opportunity to learn and share knowledge becomes more accessible for people around the world who would have not attended the event if it was just physical. That is all from us. Thank you to our speakers that have shared the knowledge and opinions to us, and also to the students and lecturers that have attended this forum. Indeed, this activity would not be successful without your presence. On behalf of the forum holders and facilitators, I would like to thank you all for participating in our forum entitled Impact of COVID-19 Towards the Event Management Industry. Events are important because they allow for a more intimate and engaging experience with your audience that ultimately leaves a lasting impression that is more memorable than passive viewing of a more traditional form of advertising. Events come in all shapes and sizes, but the ability to interact one-on-one with a brand, environment, or even product is unique to an event, and the reason why they are such an important medium of advertising and is also the future of brand marketing. To sum it up, we hope that everyone has learned something from the seminar. If there are any shortcomings from us throughout the forum, we apologize and we hope to do better in the future. Again, thank you all for attending and stay safe.
Saya Cik Am, Senior Counselor, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Hai, saya Aiza, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Saya Yahurin Muhammad Yasin, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Hai, nama saya Kana, Inovatif di Hatiku. Saya Aini, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Saya Arisha, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Hai, saya Ain, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Saya Wanufazira, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Saya Noor Binti, Inovatif di Hatiku. Saya Asma Amanina, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Hai, saya Hamka, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Saya Muhammad Helmi bin Abdul Rahman, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Nama saya Nurul Al-Akila, penolong pendaftar Kolej Inovatif Antarabangsa, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Hai, nama saya Ahmad bin Razak, Inovatif di Hatiku.
Saya Abdul Rahman bin Kasbi, pendaftar Kolej Antarabangsa Inovatif. Inovatif di Hatiku.
Inovatif di Hatiku.